Bob Geller, president of Fusion PR, talks to host Doug Simon on PR's Top Pros Talk.
Seems like everything's changed in PR. One area that we're going to focus on today is tech PR. What would you say the number one thing that's changed in tech PR is, Bob?
Well, I'd say the changes in tech PR are very much like the changes happening in other areas of PR. And a lot of this gets back to media and also the ways we get information. Obviously, these have been trends that have been going on for years, but even, in the very recent future, it's changed even more with the advent of AI chatter, fragmentation of the news media, polarization, those kind of things.
Yeah, so what does the updated PR playbook look like now?
It looks kind of a lot different, and I'd say probably most tech PR and most PR firms hopefully are catching up to some of these changes and moving from a pretty intense focus on media to other ways of getting your story out there. For example, working with influencers, and they could be paid or organic. Things that used to be kind of very contrary to PR and agency life, like considering paid content. It's not all, junk pay for play. There are some good paid opportunities. And then I guess you have to look at things that we have used PR to achieve in the past and find different ways of achieving those goals. And you still can. I mean, that's the opportunity for those who want to stay on the cutting edge, building credibility, visibility, validation. There are different ways of making that work. In the area where I work and our agency works, technology public relations, for example, we can look at the role of influencers, and industry analysts are extremely important influencers. And more, I think agencies are adding analyst relations to their, list of services.
Yeah, you also want to be turning your clients themselves into influencers. What are some of the thought leadership strategies that are delivering the best impact today in your space?
It helps to be intentional and smart rather than just a check off the box item. We have some bylines we want to get placed, we want to get on a podcast. Do it with a goal in mind, with a strategy. Perhaps, again, if you're in a space that we're very familiar with, tech PR, B2B tech PR, primarily, a lot of this gets down to the category that you play in. Is it a new category? Is it an existing category, a subcategory? Are you, in your thought leadership, making a good case for that new category, developing the need for it? But by and large, it has to be very interesting, compelling, because nothing will happen if it's not, right?
Right. And that touches on how a story can break through what's a crowded media landscape. You were referring to that earlier, how much has been changed, so many more options, choices, and ways that people consume information. What are some of your top suggestions for how to make sure your story breaks through?
Increasingly in PR, it's important to have big ideas, and tech PR as well. Not just press releases, not just email pitches. But I'd say when it comes to getting an interesting story out there and breaking through, I can think of an interesting example. In fact, we have a client in online privacy protection, and a couple of our account executives were on a call listening to a client give an interview, and something jumped out. It was about how people are very protective of certain personal information, but their phone number is something they gladly give out. And this is a privacy protection company. And our team sensed that this might be an interesting topic. They packaged it into a pitch, and they got through to something called Scripps, which
Sure.
you're familiar with them, right? They're a big syndicate.
Yeah.
And
Major news syndicate own many newspapers.
exactly. On a segment called Don't Waste Your Money. And it turned into a very nice broadcast interview that was syndicated across the country at all these different stations. So it was a topic that caught on. It wasn't a press release. It wasn't like we have canned research, take our research. This is a very specific nugget of information that our team, sent would be interesting. So think like a journalist, stay close to the news, have a nose for what a good story could be.
Yeah, and I think a key part of that, and we've just been going through this after we celebrated our 40th anniversary, with the idea of what hasn't changed. And it's really about answering the questions that people want to know and need information. That hasn't changed. But one thing that's changed about that is the ability of AI to give you more insights into the information that people really want to know about. That's what we've been doing with transforming our services. What are you seeing as the role of AI and PR, especially since from a B2B perspective, the data shows 90% of B2B shoppers are looking at AI to get answers?
It's important to try to stay ahead of the curve. I think I would not believe anybody who says they know exactly where this is going and what it means for PR in other areas. It's changing so quickly. It's going to be a very iterative process. So our agency, me personally, we're jumping and using it in many different ways. We're trying to push the envelope a little bit. But as we all know, there's risks and opportunities.
Yeah, and there have been risks and opportunities with any sort of breakthrough. This one seems to be catching on even faster than so many of the others and catching on at a level that's so in deep. Any final thoughts you want to leave our viewers with?
I say getting back to the risks and opportunities, the risks are, I think, as we know, a crowded information landscape, a lot of AI-driven junk. I think that the biggest thing, maybe this is a good way to conclude because it's hard to escape AI. So important across so many areas. But one thing we will not compromise on is that high touch creativity, storytelling, being close to the information, not outsourcing that to AI.
Well, you've definitely kept your touch, keeping your agency thriving. Thanks so much for appearing on the podcast.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on. Take care and hope we talk soon.